Turkish and Tommy are two illegal boxing promoters in London. They are more like brothers. At this moment they are sitting in front of someone and waiting. It is where Turkish narrates three different stories and how all three of them lead to a single 84-carat diamond, and that is the reason why they are sitting here. The first story. Four men dressed as clergymen enter a diamond factory in Antwerp. Using force and guns they rob the factory of precious stones, jewels and an 84-carat diamond. Their boss Frankie is traveling to London and then to America to sell the diamond to his friend Avi in New York. His partner tells him, if he needs anything in London he should contact his brother Boris and gives him his card. As Frankie leaves for London, he calls his brother Boris and tells him Frankie will come to see him and he has a diamond with him. He cannot kill him and raise suspicion, so he should get someone else to do the job but not kill him. He tells Boris as gambling is Frankie's weakness so he should do something with it. Reaching London, Frankie calls Avi in New York and tells him about the diamond. Avi tells him to go meet his cousin Doug, who deals in stolen diamonds, and also cautions him to stay away from any type of gambling as Frankie is a stupid gambler. Frankie goes to meet Boris to get a gun for himself, and on asking the price for the gun, Boris says he can do a job for him instead. He wants Frankie to go and place a bet on his behalf to a bookie, as he owns money to this bookie from a previous bet so he can't go himself, and this will make them even. The bet is about a boxing match which Boris knows who is going to win. Next, Frankie goes to see Doug and shows him the stones and also tells him about the boxing bet that he plans to go and place, as he knows who is going to win. Doug calls Avi in New York and tells him he met Frankie and saw the stones and also about the bet Frankie is going to place on a boxing match. Hearing about the bet makes Avi very angry as he knows Frankie can do stupid things in gambling. Avi takes the first flight from New York and comes to London. On meeting Doug he gets very angry on him and tells him to accompany him to find Frankie. The second story. Sol and Vini ran a pawn shop in London. Vini enters the shop with a dog. Sol asks him where did he get the dog from. He says the gypsies give a dog every time they make a deal and gives Sol the bag of gold that he has pawned from them. Boris comes to see Sol and tells him he has a piece of information for him. According to his sources, there is a bookie house where £50,000 are unguarded at this very time, which they can go and loot and keep the money. There they will also find a man with a suitcase. In return of the information they need to bring that suitcase to him. Sol and Vini take Tyrone with them and go to the bookie house. Showing guns they ask the cashier to hand them the money. But she says they should know whose bookie house it is, and anyway there are no bets so there is no money with her. Saying this she presses a security button which locks them in and also captures their pictures in the camera. Tyrone gets them out somehow. Outside they find Frankie with the suitcase tied to his hand with a chain. So they kidnap him along with the suitcase and bring him back to their shop. Boris comes to pick up the suitcase. Vini tells him there was no money in the bookie house, to which Boris offers them money in compensation. Vini and Sol know about the diamond now, so they deny, and want a 50% share of the diamond instead. Listening this, Boris takes out his gun and shoots Frankie and asks for the diamond, to which Sol says he kept the diamond back in the suitcase and Frankie was the only one to know the combination. Boris cuts Frankie's arm and takes away the suitcase along with it. The third story. Turkish and Tommy go to meet the underworld Don and king of illegal boxing Mr. Brick. They fix an upcoming match with Mr. Brick in which their boxer George will lose the match in the 4th round. On returning to their place George is training for the boxing match. Turkish is annoyed with his old caravan and gives Tommy money to go to the gypsies' campsite and buy a caravan from them. Tommy takes George along with him to buy a caravan from the gypsies. There he meets Mickey and his mom from whom they buy a caravan. George attaches the caravan to their car and starts to drive. Inside he asks Tommy where did you get the dog from? Tommy tells him the gypsies give a dog every time they make a deal and suddenly the caravan breaks down. They go back to Mickey and ask him to take back the broken caravan and return them their money, but Mickey invites George for a fight and if he wins they can have their money back. George and Mickey start a fight. What they don't know is, Mickey is a boxing champion. Mickey knocks down George in just one blow. Tommy comes back and informs Turkish about George's death. As now they don't have a fighter for the upcoming fight, they convince Mickey to replace George in the fight. When Mickey agrees to fight in place of George, they go to inform Mr. Brick about the replacement, who is very angry on this sudden change, and tells them to confirm with their boxer to go down in the 4th round as he is heavily placing his bets on it. Avi and Doug come to the boxing match looking for Frankie, but he is not there as he is already dead. The boxing match starts and Mickey is supposed to lose in the 4th round, but as usual he knocks down the other boxer with just one punch. This gets everyone related to the fight in a puddle. Mr. Brick, who took a lot of money from the market to place on this match, is in great trouble to pay back. Mr. Brick has 2 things to do now: first, make Turkish, Tommy and Mickey to suffer, and second, find the people who attacked his bookie house. And now the mix-up of all 3 stories. Mr. Brick and his men come to see Turkish and tells him to get Mikey back for another fight, and this time no matter what he has to lose in the 4th round. Then he gets Turkish to open his safe and take all his money as loss in the previous fight. Turkish and Tommy go to convince Mickey for the fight, but he says he will agree to fight only if they buy a new caravan for his mom. As they have no money left with them, they call Mr. Brick to inform the same. To put pressure on Mickey, Mr. Brick gets his men to burn down Mickey's caravan along with his mother. Turkish and Tommy go to see Mickey to feel sorry about his loss, but this time Mickey agrees for the fight. Mr. Brick finds out from the camera recording about Soul and Vini and plans to pay them a visit. His men beat them and are about to kill them when Soul tells Mr. Brick, if he could just leave them and give them 4 days, he will get him an 84-carat diamond. Mr. Brick agrees for the same and gives them 2 days. Avi on the other side hires a gangster Tony to help him find Frankie. Tony knows Mr. Brick's bookie house was looted, and from a local thug he finds out Soul and Vini are the one behind it. On gunpoint, Soul tells him the whole story and informs that Boris has the diamond. By chance Boris comes to Doug's shop to talk about the diamond. Tony kidnaps Boris and gets to know the diamond is at his house. Avi recovers the diamond and tells them to kill Boris. On their way back they are met with an accident and Boris somehow manages to escape. Avi and Tony enter a restaurant to freshen up. Soul and Vini, who have been following, enter behind them to get the diamond. Tony realizes that they are carrying replicas of guns and thus scares them off. On their way out they meet Avi with the suitcase and Boris with a gun. A shootout begins, a bullet from Tony hits Boris, and between this finding an opportunity, Soul and Vini run away with the suitcase. Tony and Avi reach back to Soul and Vini to get the diamond. Vini's dog eats the diamond from Avi's hand and runs away. Avi tries to shoot the dog but shoots Tony instead. Scared, Avi takes the first flight back to New York. Soul and Vini are left with dead bodies which they have to dispose. Vini tells Soul they should go to the campsite as the dog will go back to the gypsies' campsite from where it came. Mr. Brick is sure to win this time, so he has placed all his money on the match. Mickey comes to fight. Mr. Brick informs him that his men are all around the campsite to kill his people in case he does not go down in the 4th round this time. The fight starts. Mickey gets his initial blows, but after a point of time he comes out strong and knocks down the other boxer. That was his revenge for Mr. Brick to make him lose all his money in the match. What Mr. Brick did not know was his men were already killed by the gypsies as the fight started, even his men in his car. When Mr. Brick comes out they shoot him also and Mickey leaves with his boys. Next day Turkish and Tommy reach the campsite, but it is all swept clean, no one is there. Cops come in looking for gypsies, as so many murders have taken place a night before. A cop asks Turkish what is he doing there. Turkish looks around to see a dog barking, so he says just came out to take the dog for a walk. Turkish tell Tommy to pick up the dog so they can leave. On the other side Soul and Vini are held by police with dead bodies in their car trunk. As the dog ate the diamond, it was making a different sound, so Turkish took him to a vet and he found a diamond inside the dog. At present they are sitting in front of Doug to examine the diamond and find someone for them who is interested in it. Doug calls Avi in New York and he comes. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to watch latest and interesting movies. And please write in comments movies you want to see.